We've all been playing a game with an awesome story and thought to ourselves at some point, what if this was a movie? Even as games have gotten more cinematic over the years, it's hard not to wonder who you would cast in this role or who could direct a movie like this. So for this top 10, we're just gonna let our imaginations run wild. So hey, I'm Nervous Nick for Screw Attack's Top 10 Games That Should Be Movies.
Number 10.
Cinema may never see a fantasy series quite as grand as Lord of the Rings ever again, but I can think of a video game adaptation that could come close. Once upon a time, I might have said Warcraft, but they already tried that one. Instead, I say get Peter Jackson on the phone again and give him an Elder Scrolls movie. There are endless stories to be told in the world of Tamriel. A movie, or even a series of movies, could base themselves off of the games as little or as much as they'd like, and it could still feel like Elder Scrolls. If all else fails, just include the Dark Brotherhood in the plot, and I think the Elder Scrolls fans would still be on board. Bonus points for Pete Jackson if he includes some good old Bethesda glitches, just for fun.
Number 9.
Half-Life. It forever changed how stories were told in video games. And even though it wouldn't exactly do the same thing in the theaters, it could still work amazingly well as a movie. Just as long as you're not a fanboy who would rage at the thought of Gordon Freeman not being a silent protagonist anymore. Bring on the Vortigaunts, the Antlions, the Gravity Gun, and ignoring what the characters may want, you best believe we're going to Ravenholm. Hovercraft levels optional. In fact, please don't include those. Luckily, there actually is a movie supposedly being made by J.J. Abrams. And I say that if he can make Half-Life feel as unsettling as the Cloverfield movies, we're off to a great start already.
Number 8.
It's true love.
I don't think I'm overhyping things when I say that one of the most inventive worlds created in the 360 PS3 era was the underwater city of Rapture. A Bioshock movie actually was in the works for a while before the deal fell through, but this is one that still deserves to be made. Between the tweaked out splicers, Big Daddies and Little Sisters, and the whole retro steampunk setting, Bioshock could be an easy standout from all the other horror movies getting produced these days. Plus, it only gets creepier as Rapture's history unfolds with the story. And if it's successful, I'm just saying, a sequel based on Bioshock Infinite could almost work better as a movie than a game.
Number 7.
Is it cheating to just put a modern-day Naughty Dog game on the list? Because their games are pretty much marketed like interactive movies anyway. But you know what? I don't care. I've got a swashbuckling, treasure-hunting, adventure-shaped hole in my heart, and I don't think Indiana Jones 5 is gonna fill it. Honestly, I'd be so much more excited for an Uncharted movie anyway. I mean, if anybody's gonna out-indie Indiana Jones these days, it's Nathan Drake. Yeah, I do want the lovable cast of characters and the hype-as-heck action set pieces, but if a de-aging serum can be developed fast enough, we just might finally get Nathan Fillion as the lead character, guys. Or if a de-aging serum's not possible, you could always just get Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, or Brett Dalton to do a great job too.
Number 6.
I would be willing to bet that if you pulled every single gamer in the world, their number one game-to-movie wish would be The Legend of Zelda. The biggest hurdle here is that you would have to change a lot of stuff. I mean, it is an adaptation after all. Since literally nobody wants to watch Link run around 7 dungeons in total silence, you'd have to strip the Zelda formula down to the essentials and just kind of build from there. This will sound a little weird, but I could see it playing out vaguely like the original Star Wars story in a more traditional fantasy setting. But really, I think that as long as you have interesting lead characters and complete the following checklist, most Zelda fans are going to be happy with your movie. Number 1, make the best looking Link outfit we've ever seen. Number 2, give us a sense of grand adventure. Fields, mountains, deserts, oceans, I want to explore that crap. Number 3, show us the iconic races like Gorons and Zoras. And number 4, keep Link's speech to a minimum. He's got to talk, but treat him like Mad Max and let Zelda do most of the talking if you have to. Oh, and we have to get just one good...
Excuse me, princess.
I'm just kidding about the last one. Or am I?
Number 5.
Take me back to the year 2001. Take me back to the days when Space Marines were the biggest cliche in video games. Holy crap, I'm actually nostalgic for Halo. Even though I would kill to see the most masterful of chiefs in action on the big screen, even though I want to see banshees and warthogs and scarabs in glorious combat, the Halo movie should have happened years ago. The iron's gone a bit cold since then, but a big budget, big screen adaptation could be just the thing to get people excited for Halo again. As soon as they put out a trailer with that haunting theme music, oh baby, I'm gonna get goosebumps like crazy, and I'm pre-ordering my ticket on the spot.
Number 4.
Hideo Kojima apparently once said that 70% of his body is made of movies. If that's the case, then why not put his masterpiece Metal Gear series into theaters? Coincidentally, 70% is also about how much you'd have to chop out of the games to make it work as a movie series, but when you get right down to it, the world of Metal Gear is so distinct and fantastical that it really ought to be shared with the rest of the world. Metal Gear's complex story could also lend itself well to a Netflix or HBO series, but when there's action this big, I think it deserves a big screen to match.
Number 3.
The beautiful thing about adapting a game like Grand Theft Auto to a movie is that every game is a completely different story with totally different characters, so there's not any huge overarching continuity you gotta worry about. Not saying I wouldn't love to see Trevor Phillips on screen, but you could bring in wholly original characters and stories and still be faithful to what the series is all about. Grand Theft Auto would simply need to be a quirky crime film with some laughs, wild car chases, and the absolute most bonkers 6-star wanted level climax you can possibly imagine. I'm telling you, just get Quentin Tarantino or James Wan from Furious 7 to direct it and BAM! You've got yourself a golden GTA film.
Number 2.
As long as Nintendo's gonna sit on a franchise like F-Zero and not make any games out of it, then why not turn it into a movie? This is a movie I've wanted to get made pretty much for as long as I've pursued media production as a career. As awesome as the races are in the games, they can be just as incredible in a movie. But that's not the only reason it's this absurdly high on the list. F-Zero is number 2 because there's a whole side to this world that the games just can't explore. I'm talking about Captain Falcon's bounty hunting career. Imagine this taking place in a world where high-speed racing is as big as international soccer is. You'd have some kind of plot involving some shady corporation doing some shady stuff in the biggest Grand Prix race in the world, and only Captain Falcon can deal with them both on and off the track, and I'm just describing the Speed Racer movie now. And you know what? Screw it! Just get Matthew Fox as Captain Falcon and get Taika Waititi to direct and make all my wildest dreams come true.
It's number 1.
There is no doubt in my mind that if any game deserves number 1, it is Metroid. And if you're gonna take a game famous for giving players a feeling of isolation, it's gonna have to be carried by a fantastic actress. The way I see it, Charlize Theron, Brie Larson, and Gwendolyn Christie would all be worthy of bringing the legendary Samus Aran to life. A movie would be the perfect way to flesh out her backstory and give us all new reasons to love this classic character. And you can't tell me that a battle against Kraid or Ridley, a daring escape from an exploding planet, and a baby Metroid sacrificing itself are not all amazing movie moments just waiting to happen. If you want a proof of concept for how a Metroid movie could feel, go check out the short by Rainfall Films and imagine a feature-length version of that. A Metroid movie done right wouldn't just be incredibly eerie and intense, it could also be the perfect film to show the rest of the world the kinds of stories that games have been telling for decades. For our secret number 11, if the Illumination Studios Mario movie winds up successful, I wonder if Nintendo's gonna try a Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Of course, it's all gotta culminate in a crossover movie called Super Smash Bros. With Shigeru Miyamoto as Nick Fury. That is the absolute stupidest idea that I would actually pay to see in the Dollar Theater.